you'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, folks, I'm back with another video for you today. It's your boy Jay, man. So Piers Morgan had his show on, and he brought on a few panelists, which included Destiny, one of the biggest leftists we've ever seen. And it got real intense when this leftist came on Piers Morgan show. So let's get to the video, man. This is Destiny on a panel on Piers Morgan show. Fair use, fair use.
Is where it's led to. And in Britain, we've had 2 members of parliament in the last 10 years murdered by people for political reasons, basically because, lunatics have wanted to eliminate them. Let me bring in Destiny, because you've been at the center, as you know, of a massive online response to what you were saying. And I want to go through what you said, and I want to talk to you about this hopefully in a calm manner to try and understand what you were thinking. So on Saturday evening, hours after the shooting, you said, let me clarify, when I say conflicted, what I mean is I lean towards seeing it as a natural extension of the thing Trump and the MAGA kids support. So I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Absolutely not. Conservatives have completely bled that well dry. And the idea that they, after engaging in the most divisive and most extreme rhetoric that this country has seen in recent history, that they would come on and beg for sympathy, that it's escalated into some kind of violent confrontation is absolutely insane. Even the idea right now of saying, well, if you call somebody a Nazi for so long, it's, what do you expect people to do? I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh call Obama a communist every single day he was on the radio. You've got conservatives that talk about how the mRNA vaccines were ways to sneak microchips into us. You've got COVID lockdowns that were done because the government was trying to take all your freedom away. They won't acknowledge anything that happened on January 6th. They say that the election was stolen and that your country is being taken from you. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of rhetoric and when you turn the temperature up over and over and over and over again, there is absolutely no room for you to be shocked.
But Destiny, there's conspiracy theories on both sides. I mean, I get it. You have people on the right who are conspiracy theories, but you have people on the left who are also doing the same thing. And this is a man, I don't care if you like him or not. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but that man almost got killed. And a man actually lost his life. I've said this in a previous video. A man lost his life trying to protect his family. What do you have to say to those people who lost their loved one, Destiny? I'm just being honest.
Okay, but you say,
and there certainly isn't a review to ask for sympathy.
But Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed, and yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it. People celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise people who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people you've just spent the last 2 minutes haranguing?
No, because they've led the way. This is the environment that they've created.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
It's not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th.
Violence,
that was
that's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire.
So you're saying that, and getting back to what Piers was trying to say is, you are happy with people celebrating that a man almost got killed. If this would have happened to any other president, if this would have happened to Obama, Biden, Clinton, Bush. It almost happened to Reagan. You would still be happy with people celebrating. Now, I understand you don't like what the rhetoric. I'm not a big fan of the rhetoric. And the rhetoric to me is a bunch of bull. But I've always said there's a bunch of rhetoric on both sides. You can look at different news outlets and see that. It may not be as dialed up on one side as it is on the other, but it's the same type of rhetoric. Just spoken differently.
Cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire cultural.
Real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple.
Okay, but
I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy for that.
Let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy. Fuck Trump. Fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay? Just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100%.
Hold on. So you would make fun of a person losing their life. What if this was on the other side and there was a liberal campaign and Biden was in campaign and the same thing would have happened to Joe Biden at one of his campaign rallies? Would you have the same energy? Would you say, forget that? See, this is the problem with our country. We're thinking blue and red. It's not about policy anymore. It's about who can win the most popular contest. Who's the most popular? Trump or Biden? People don't care about policy anymore. When we get back to talking about policies, talking about making the country better for everybody, then we'll be good. It's not just one side gets something and the other side don't get anything. It needs to be a middle where everybody gets something. But when you talk like that, Destiny, you're going to make people upset. You don't think you're giving the conservatives more ammo. When you say that, you're giving conservatives more ammo.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive, Destiny. Yeah,
I wish that there is no room. There is no room for the hand wringing, and I will not participate in this anymore.
Oh, it's not hand wringing.
The hand wringing. No, it absolutely is.
No, it's just that you are positioning yourself.
So well.
No, but Destiny, let me explain to you.
Where conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a conservative.
They can have any conspiracy theories.
I'm not a conservative.
They can have any plot. They can do anything, and then liberals are supposed to sit here and be like, "Oh my God, it's so tragic."
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
Let me explain.
Absolutely.
Let me explain my position because I'm not a conservative. I'm not on either side in your race, right? Here's what I think about what you did. You like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually are exactly the person that you're describing. You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was President of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry, that makes you, frankly, despicable.
I don't think...
I couldn't say it better myself. And the sad thing is that people like Destiny are the same type of people that he despises. There's bad people on both sides. You can't just say, oh, there's just bad Republicans. I mean, do I agree with everything the Republicans do? No. Do I agree with everything Democrats do? No. But at the end of the day, it's all about having empathy and sympathy for a person that lost their life. Doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're on. Doesn't matter if you're on the left. Doesn't matter if you're on the right. An innocent man lost his life going to a Trump rally, basically shielding his family away from any harm. And for you, Destiny, to even say that, it's just, I don't get it though. I don't get it.
I'm gleeful about anything. I don't think anybody should die. I don't think anybody deserves to die. But you want to talk about gleeful? Look at the conservative response to Pelosi's husband when they broke in.
I can answer that.
Mainstream media figures
I can answer that.
I don't care.
I can answer that.
With all due respect, I don't care what your answer is.
Let me answer that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature up on the rhetoric. They have been making fun of these types of events for years, and now when something happens to them, now they're looking for sympathy from the liberal side. Absolutely not. It's insane. It's unhinged.
Yeah,
so basically, you're saying just turn the other, don't turn the other cheek. Just do what they do. It's called, it's called being more mature. But see, the problem is now that, I'm gonna say it, that one party is losing and the other party is gaining steam. Is that okay? If we can't win, we got to do what they do so we can win. You know what this is about? It's political season. It's presidential season. Everybody's rationing up the rhetoric so they can get their side over. That's all it is. Nobody cares about the normal everyday person that goes to work, works 40 hours a week to take care of their family. All they care about is their own political gain.
Conduct yourself in such a manner and expect people to feel sorry when things happen.
Why should anybody on the right listen to a word of your hectoring and lecturing about how they should behave? And by the way, for the record, the mockery of Nancy Pelosi's husband when he was attacked by an intruder with a hammer was also despicable, right? I can see despicable behavior on all sides, and I'm happy to call it out when I see it. You, however, want to present yourself as this great kind of standard bearer of decency who sees outrageous behavior on the right time and again and is incensed by this disgusting, inhumane behavior. And yet time and again, since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, you have displayed exactly the same kind of inhumane behavior. Fuck him about a fireman who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the MAGA kids is not that they are not empathetic. My issue is that they support a president that led an insurrection against the United States. I'm not here to tone police over their empathy.
18 million people voted for Donald Trump last time around.
That's great. 80 million people voted for a guy that tried to insurrect the government, and it looks like they might try to do it again. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. These are the facts on the ground. The idea that
you don't like attacks on democracy. So presumably you would unreservedly condemn the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, because that's one of the most egregious attacks on American democracy in modern times. Presumably,
I don't think that
you will
anybody
take this opportunity, given you are so determined to protect the integrity of democracy, you would find it absolutely outrageous that someone has tried to assassinate a president, right?
If the other conservatives on this show want to say that it was absolutely outrageous that Donald Trump attempted to coup the government,
I'm asking you.
Then maybe I would. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness or show sympathy to conservatives.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to condemn what happened as an egregious attack on democracy.
He can't do it. He can't do it. He can't do it. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. Just like the radical right, you have people on the radical left. Even if you explain it to them to a T, they will not budge an inch. I see it every day when you watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. It doesn't matter what station you turn on. This is why a lot of people don't watch mainstream media. They don't watch mainstream media because at the end of the day, it's either, you're getting paid by these big corporations, so you gotta be here or you gotta be there. And Destiny's just a product of that. He's just a product of that. Like the whole Nancy Pelosi and her husband with the hammer thing, that was egregious too. I will say 1,000% that was egregious. And the person who did it is going to pay for it in jail time. Let's continue.
You do that?
No, I won't.
You can't do that. You see, so why the hell, frankly, Destiny,
absolutely not.
Why the hell should we listen to a word you have to say about...
Why do you think conservatives haven't been listening to a word that liberals have said about anything for 8 years?
Right,
what do you think is going to change?
They?
You think that if liberals come out now and they go, oh my God, this was so horrible, you think they're going to go, wow, that is true. Maybe that should also
Charlie, I'll bring you in at the end of this, I promise you, and you'll get a good chance to respond. But here's my problem, Destiny, with your whole position on this, right? Is that you don't actually have anything inside you that you want the other side to have. You don't have any of the empathy. You don't have any sympathy. You don't care that someone tried to assassinate Donald Trump. You don't care that a young fireman with a family was killed in the process. You don't actually. You are not the person you want these other people to be, and all you do is play whataboutery with every question I give you. And I'm just startled.
It's not what about it. We're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the temperature of this country. But here's a question for the two panelists. What percentage of this event happening was due to Donald Trump's rhetoric? What do they think the answer to that question is?
What percentage could it be that the other side, as we've just heard from Dave Rubin, have spent 8 years calling Donald Trump the new Adolf Hitler, a person who was responsible for the murder of 12 million people, including 6 million Jewish people in a Holocaust. Last time I checked, Donald Trump hasn't murdered 12 million people. So much as you would like him to be the new Hitler, he's not. But again, to an impressionable young deranged mind who has easy access to guns, that can be easily interpreted as an existential threat, said President Biden. Somebody that needs to be put in the bullseye, said Biden.
Okay,
Yep. You heard it. He just said it. He said bullseye. Joe Biden did say that. And see, this is the thing people need to understand. I don't really think Joe Biden would really have said that. I think the people that are behind Joe Biden say you need to crank it up too. You need to crank this up too. And for people that say that it's wrong to call somebody Adolf Hitler and all that stuff, you're comparing somebody to Adolf Hitler. I don't think so. I mean, am I a big fan of Trump? No, I'm not a big fan of Trump. But when you compare somebody to a person who slaughtered a whole population of people, that's called a scare tactic. That's called a scare tactic, and they use it all the time in mainstream media.
I'm curious.
And guess what? Somebody then comes forward and tries to kill the existential threat.
Rhetoric? Who is engaged in more divisive rhetoric over the 8 years? If you had to guess, if you had to assign a rough percentage,
again, you're playing whataboutery. Again, you're deflecting. Just as Joe Biden did last night. Just as Joe Biden did with Lester Holt on NBC last night. Every time he was asked, "Have you done any soul searching about your own rhetoric, your own ill-advised use of language?" He deflected it back to attacks on Trump. And you're doing exactly the same thing with Republicans.
And I will do the exact same thing.
And you know what, though? Both sides do the same thing. Donald Trump does the same thing. Joe Biden does the same thing. And I'm going to close out with this. Piers Morgan just made Destiny like a fool. Because at the end of the day, Piers Morgan asked him questions. He didn't want to answer. He wanted to flip-flop and skip and all that stuff and talk about how bad the right is and all this stuff. But if the right is bad, the left is just as bad. You're saying so if Donald Trump goes on the attack, Joe Biden should go on the attack too. This is the problem with this country. Everybody attacks each other, but doesn't want to sit together and try to come up with some type of plan. That's the issue. This country's divided. And this just shows, this panel just shows how divided the country is. That a man that lives in the UK and Piers Morgan can see this from another country, and other countries can see this, but we can't see it in America. It's your boy Jay here with another video. If you like the video, hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button. On my road to 100,000 subscribers. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, folks, I'm out.